Hi, good evening everyone. कैसे हैं आप लोग? It's time for yet another voice industry webinar कहिए या online session कहिए. A small initiative of Sugar Mediaz to create awareness and spark conversations about the various facets of the voice industry, of the fascinating voice industry, if I may say. आज से कुछ 1.5-2 महीने पहले, जब लॉकडाउन अपने चरम पर था, and when we were in the midst of this very uncertain future about how things will shape up in the weeks to come, in the months to come, तब मेरे मन में ख्याल ये आया कि ये बहुत बढ़िया वक्त है to spark off conversations about our craft, क्योंकि हम लोग वॉइस इंडस्ट्री में हजारों लाखों लोग हैं. अगर हम खाली सिर्फ हिंदुस्तान की बात करें तो there are more than tens of thousands of us जो अलग अलग भाषाओं में, अलग अलग माध्यम पर, अलग अलग एवेन्यूज में, अलग अलग मीडिया पर वॉइस एक्टिंग करते हैं. और ये जो वॉइस इंडस्ट्री है ये सिर्फ वॉइस आर्टिस्ट तक ही सीमित नहीं है. इट्स एन इंडस्ट्री इसीलिए कहा जाता है क्योंकि इसके बहुत सारे पहलू हैं. वॉइस आर्टिस्ट शायद हमारी इंडस्ट्री के चेहरे हैं. ये अलग बात है कि वॉइस आर्टिस्ट के वैसे चेहरे होते नहीं है. हमें कहा जाता है कि हम बैकग्राउंड टैलेंट हैं. मगर हमारी इंडस्ट्री की बात करें तो वॉइस आर्टिस्ट आर द फेस ऑफ द वॉइस इंडस्ट्री, बट देयर आर सो मेनी अदर्स हु मेक अस हु वी आर. फिर चाहे हम साउंड इंजीनियर्स की बात करें, जो लिखते हैं, लैंग्वेज राइटर्स हैं, लोकलाइजेशन जो करते हैं, ट्रांसक्रिएशन करते हैं, वो हैं. जो क्लाइंट्स हैं हमारे, जो प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, डबिंग करवाते हैं, चाहे एडवर्टाइजिंग फिल्म मेकर्स हैं, टेलीविजन चैनल्स हैं, देयर आर सो मेनी डिफरेंट लेग्स और डिफरेंट पिलर्स व्हिच मेक दिस स्ट्रॉन्ग फाउंडेशन ऑफ द वॉइस इंडस्ट्री. ऐसा ही एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण स्तंभ है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पिलर है वॉइस इंडस्ट्री का. एक ऐसा पिलर जो अपने कांधे पर वॉइस आर्टिस्ट्स के पूरे परफॉर्मेंस का जिम्मा उठा के रखता है, पर जिसके बारे में ज्यादा बात नहीं होती है. ये अलग बात है कि उनके बिना काम भी नहीं चलता है. पर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ डबिंग डायरेक्टर्स की या वॉइस डायरेक्टर्स की. वॉइस डायरेक्टर्स form a very important and critical part of the ecosystem. ये वो हैं जिनके चेहरे नहीं होते, क्योंकि ये आपको यानी वॉइस आर्टिस्ट को लाइमलाइट में लाने के लिए मेहनत करते हैं. But these are what I call the captains of the ship. जैसे मैं कई बार साउंड इंजीनियर्स के लिए कहता हूँ कि रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो में साउंड इंजीनियर इज द गॉड. पर अगर मैं इसको एक शिप की तरह देखूं, टाइटैनिक नहीं, रियल गुड शिप which never sinks and which will never sink, dubbing directors are like the captains of the ship. These are the people who deal with so many talents, who deal with each talent's mind, each talent's personality, and inspire them, sometimes even provoke them to give their best performance. So today's session, the dubbing director's voice, is an attempt to give a voice to this segment of the voice industry and to discover the world of voice direction. And I have today with me 3 very fine dubbing directors of our industry. और अगर मैं बात करूं तो collectively इन तीनों का मिला के, और मैं खुद को भी अगर जोड़ दूं as a talent from the industry, तो हमारा 100 साल का experience हो जाता है. So that's a great panel to have, right? और जैसा कि हमने पिछली बार शुरू किया था, I am interacting with each panelist one at a time so that we can have a more intimate, more personalized conversation. And आप लोग जो Facebook पर, YouTube पर ये सेशन देख रहे हैं, feel free to write into us जैसा कि आप हमेशा करते हैं. That's another very important thing I wanted to talk about today before we move on, is I wanted to say a big thank you and wish I could give a hug. But इस वक्त a virtual hug to all my friends, colleagues, and people from the voice industry who have been so supportive, so loving, so encouraging, for with this endeavor that we have embarked upon. मैं हर अगले दिन किसी न किसी को फोन करके उनसे डिस्कस करता हूँ, उनका माथा खाता हूँ और उनको पूछता हूँ कि अगला सेशन क्या करें, किन से बात करें. We have these discussions. So, and for every session, after each session, I get tons and tons of calls and messages from artists who always, who share their feedback, usually good. Sometimes they tell me what can be done better, which I listen to with humility and try to implement. So, thank you so much. A special mention to my very dear friends, Meena Nahata, Lalit Agarwal, Sanket Matre. They've been very, very supportive. They've been very kind, very loving. Mona Shetty, someone I love and adore deeply, very supportive always. And obviously the three panelists who are with me today are also dear friends and colleagues, and they've been very gracious in sparing their time and coming here to discuss with all of you, to discuss with India rather, everything about dubbing direction, or if we say voice direction. So सबसे पहले शुरू करते हैं with my first panelist. Let's put our hands together for the first panelist on this session, on this webinar today.
Hi.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, say hello to Singh. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Chamomile tea is on.
I love your frame. I love the frame.
I have them in a lot of colors. People assume I dress according to my mood with my glasses, and it's actually
I have noticed that, and I'm a huge fan of these bold, chunky frames. I love them, and
I know you have a pair as well.
It's looking amazing.
Yeah,
but they're no match for what you have. So, Simran, before you go ahead, let me probably put across a small introduction to people who might not know you. Although there would be very few in the voice industry who would not know SimranSingh, who is senior dubbing director with one of India's leading language localization dubbing companies, Sound and Vision India. Simran started her career very early. She got into the business in the early years of dubbing in the 1990s, when we were just beginning. She has more than 20 years of rich experience straddling the world of television and films with equal ease. Besides being a dubbing director, she has a rich repertoire of work as an assistant director and has also produced shows. And like she says, dubbing keeps calling her back.
Yeah.
Simran, what is it about dubbing that it keeps calling you back? You're a multifaceted personality, talent. What is it about dubbing?
I don't know. I think I've experimented with a lot of things in my life. And every few years, somehow something happens and I'm back in a studio directing. And somewhere I feel like it is actually what I'm really good at and I really enjoy doing. So I'm very happy when it calls me back, and it's always called me back. I've actually never gone looking for it. It just calls me and I always answer the call.
Lovely.
And I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's a great beginning to a webinar, to a session which is talking about dubbing direction, which isn't really a very conventional segment or career or vocation or work that people talk about. Although in the voice industry, everyone has great respect for people who are dubbing directors, because they know, like I said, they are captains of the ship. So Simran, if you could give us take us through a short, in brief, through your journey as a dubbing director.
I'll tell you, a lot of people ask about it, and I don't think anyone's come to Bombay to be a dubbing director. Everyone comes to be a director, actor, produce. Nobody wants to be a dubbing director. I don't know. There is a stigma to it in a very weird way. And I feel like right now, the content we are creating, the creativity it takes, the understanding it takes is so much that you actually need skilled people to do it. It's not someone who didn't make it as a director who's going to come in and become a dubbing director. It's actually a very clean skill set, and not people who are directors can actually do this. It's not all directors who can do dubbing direction. And it's a very specific skill set to work within a khacha. You can be as
I'm
creative.
I'm so glad you're putting that out, Simran. Because it was important to put that out, or so to say, that like we talk about voice acting, just because you have a great voice doesn't make you a good voice actor. Similarly, the dynamics of directing voices is very different from the dynamics of directing faces, if I may say.
Yes.
So so that's amazing. So if I had to ask you to list out, since you are telling us how special it is to be a good dubbing director, what are those special skills, special talents?
I think we as directors also jump a lot of genres. Whereas if you are directing a show, you pretty much stick to you're doing thrillers or you do comedy and you kind of stay in that khacha. I feel show to show, we're doing a comedy one day, we're doing a thriller, we're doing drama. To be able to adapt your understanding of the content and to be able to adapt it language-wise, whether it's Hindi to English, English to Hindi, to Tamil, to Telugu, to do it justice is I think a huge skill set. It's not as easy as having free reign. When you have free reign for creativity is one thing. To be able to work within what your original director's vision is, who's directed the show, it's really hard to kind of limit yourself, but still do justice to the project. And that's where my point of view has always been, is that I want to do justice to the original director's vision, not just add my own creativity and go with it.
Yeah, that's a very fine line to walk, Simran.
Yeah.
So because like you rightly said that when we are doing even when you're doing voice acting, you are working within a very tight fence. If you're doing dubbing, you've got to work in the fence of what your character has done already. At most, what you can do is, if it is written well, then it is up to you to make it to come across with better emotions, with better with better acting skills. So what does a dubbing director bring to the table in terms of one is the ability to understand the original director's vision. Besides that, what is it that
I think most performers, voice artists, actors are all like crazy horses, and they need someone to rein them in, to actually have some structure and focus their creativity. And I feel like the crazier the artist, the more fun it is to kind of rein them in and get that performance out of them. Because some of them, if you leave them alone, they run with it, and then it becomes something totally different. To kind of hold them back when they need to be held back, and also let them go when they need to go. That, I think, that game is artist to artist and performance to performance. It's very subtle, but there is a difference. Where there are people who need a lot of direction, and then there are people who you kind of have to stay out of their way and guide them. So it changes person to person and performer to performer.
That's such a valid point. So that also brings to the fore one very important quality to be a voice director or dubbing director, that you've got to be good at handling people. Finally, you are handling different personalities, different egos, different, everything comes as a package with each artist. So how do you maintain your sanity when you're dealing with right from a fresher to someone who has tons of experience?
I think the way I go by it is that I deal with everyone the same. You can have a big film superstar, or you can have a fresh, 8-year-old kid who's never dubbed before. I will deal with them the same from my point of view. At the end of the day, as soon as they get on the mic, they are a dubbing artist. You could be a big superstar, but you're in my studio. And that control is very important to keep and know who's in charge. If you get eaten up, kha jayega koi, fully kha jayega. Yeah. It's true. It's a game. Like you said,
is that why very few? Is that why? Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
So is that why very few dubbing? Is that why very few dubbing directors earn the kind of respect that someone like you has earned? Everyone I spoke to when I was discussing, they were like, "Oh my God." So but you are also known to be someone who is quite a hard taskmaster.
Yeah, because I know what I want, and if I don't get it, they know. And I'm very sweet. I'm very sweet. I love my artists. I have a great relationship. I hope everyone backs me up on that. But I'm very clear about what I want. I watch my show, I research it, I do workshops.
Oh,
Like we've done shows where, you know, the content is queer or gay and stuff. So I've workshopped with my team, from the engineer to my ADs, to kind of let them understand what we're doing, why we're doing certain things, so that everyone's on board about sensibility. Also, we deal with so much content right now that's so religious or political and sensitive, to get it right, you know, to also not be so conservative. I'm like, if your original director has pushed the boundary, so should we. Dar dar ke kaam nahi hota hai. Like everything cannot go into this little box of everyone is, you know, going to do it the same way. I'm happy to push the boundaries, and I think there are some artists who've been a little uncomfortable when I'm ready to push it, where they're like, nahi, hum log aise nahi karte. I'm like,
right.
ab karenge. Let's break barriers.
Let's break barriers. Such an important, हिंदी में कहते हैं कि बात करने से बात बनती है, और अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं when we talk, we break barriers. And that, so with the kind of content that we have today, Simran, you've seen this entire industry evolve from the mid 90s.
Yeah.
You know, so so there are two elements to it. One is the kind of positioning of a dubbing director in the mid 90s and today. And I'm sure you have seen a huge change in which a dubbing director is perceived. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to say about that?
You know, I started when I was 17, and a lot of assistant directors or people trying to learn the craft now ask me, you know, how long does it take to train, and how long do you think I need to, you know, work and observe before I can? And I walked in at 17 into a studio. I sat behind the director at that point for 2 minutes. He had to attend a call. He said, bet, and that was it. 17, and I was directing. I remember I directed Bewitched at that point with Meena Nata, was the first artist I ever worked with, on a U-matic. If
Really?
none of y'all would know a U-matic, yes. And that was it. I said, and for me, I'm like, it's very clear. Either you can do it or you can't. There's no learn. This craft is not something you can learn. It's such based on so much instinct that either you know you're sitting on that chair and you know it's right, or you know it's wrong. And if you have to think about it, no, it's not. There's no theory. You can't learn this craft. I think I've watched enough television growing up, as my mom will vouch for it, that I didn't realize, but I was training for this job all my life. Binge watcher.
Absolutely. Yeah. Meena is here, by the way. Meena says a big yes. Hi, she's watching us.
She's seen me at 17 fumble with the U-matic and record.
When I started, you know, हम भी तब U-matic में record करते थे. So we've seen that time. So instinct is a very interesting word, you know, Simran. हम जिसको instinct बोलते हैं, आपने instinct कहा, फिर आपने ये भी कहा कि you were very fond of watching, you know, shows or watching TV or films in your growing up years, and that, you know, is so instinct sometimes is a combination of all your life experiences and your own understanding of things and people, and it all comes together. So definitely, you know, it is not an ordinary, you know, skill to have that everyone has. Not everyone has instinct or intuition.
Also a lot of cultural understanding. So it requires a multicultural understanding, whereas, you know, you could be doing an English show into Hindi, but if you don't understand the cultural context of what that show is trying to say, or the language or the places they're referring to, it's very hard to translate it. And I also don't believe in dumbing things down. I think Indians are very smart. So if there are words or terms or things that people refer to, I don't necessarily choose to adapt everything to cricket and Bollywood. I'm like, how else are we going to expose our audience to new things? So I take that very personally. Also, when we are doing a Hindi show into English, I'm not going to make everything Western for a Western audience. I'm like, let them learn, let them Google it, let them figure it out. If they've chosen to click on that show and watch it, interest is there already. I'd rather they figure out more about our culture rather than me cater everything to theirs, and vice versa. I'd rather our audience figure out stuff, because that's how we did. That's how I figured stuff out. I watched it, I researched it, I learned about it.
That's such a progressive way of looking at it, and that's such a pertinent point of view to have in today's times. And the more I'm talking to you, Simran, the more, you know, I'm realizing why everyone, you know, not just loves you a lot, but more than that, respects you for the talent that you are. So, so Simran, do you think that finally talented dubbing directors who have the right mix of skills are getting their due? That's a very important question.
You know what? It's very weird because I don't know what the due is. But I think the due that we do get is when we are assigned or we get the right work, when we're assigned the right projects, when we're assigned the hard, tough projects which are complicated. That's when you know you're getting your due. As a dubbing director, that is how you gauge how good you are, how good you've gotten, based on how hard the project is that you got. And it's great because, I mean, it's the harder the work, that means the better you are. Unfortunately, there's no other way for us to gauge.
Yeah, you're right. That's unfortunate. What you're saying is right. Is right in a holistic manner. That give me the tougher job I get, the more I realize that I'm cut out for it. But in the end, if I look at a long-term view, because for the last many years I've been trying my little bit to get a little platform for the industry, to give this industry a kind of a structure that people perceive it like an industry rather than a has-been of the film industry or a small part of the filmy types, which is not what we are. So the kind of
it's not an add-on.
We are having, it's not an add-on. It is a complete industry in itself. It is a life skill. There's so much to it. The kind of pointers that you are sharing today,
it runs people's houses very well.
And lacks of, I mean, this is what I do. This is what my life, this is what has defined my life. What do? I'm a voice talent. I'm a voice artist, voice actor, voiceover, what do you call? So right from my early 20s, this is the only thing that I've done, and my entire life has been built on this skill. And there are thousands like me. एक टाइम था जब बोलते थे कि क्या काम क्या करते हो, अच्छा काम मिल जाता है क्या, ये भी कोई काम है, मतलब ये बोलने के पैसे मिलते हैं.
But आज
we have.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
A lot of people feel that if you're a voice actor, you're actually waiting for a break to be an actor, or you're waiting to do, it's a stepping stone or a waiting point for you. And I don't think so. I think there are voice actors who are brilliant at what they do. And I've seen actors walk in who can't do that. I've very often, when I'm directing an actor who is trying to do voicing work, I sometimes look at the screen and I'm watching their take, and then I'll turn around and I'll look at them and they're performing. They're doing a full performance. And then I have to tell them, bhai, nobody's looking at your face. Nobody's looking at your body. I can only hear you. If your voice doesn't have the emotion that you're giving me by this big performance, it's of no point, serves no purpose.
Yeah.
So, it's true. I think a lot of actors should actually do voice acting as an absolutely independent skill. It's so subtle that you have to learn how to play with those nuances of your tone, your pitch, how you play with your words, where you pause. It's how you play with your face and your body. It's a skill. It's a very big skill.
How wonderful. I'm so glad that, an ambassador of the voice industry, of the craft of voice acting is putting as quickly as she can that, भाई आप एक्टिंग फिजिकल एक्टिंग करते होंगे, चलो वॉइस एक्टिंग करके बताओ.
बहुत अलग बात है.
तो सिमरन, इससे आप you are working with one of India's leading language localization,
the best place to work. Yeah.
And obviously, you through your projects you probably worked with voice actors and actors, or जिनको हम celebrities कहते हैं.
Yeah.
तो उसके बारे में बताइए, how is it different handling a voice actor vis-a-vis handling a celebrity physical actor, a visual actor?
Like I said, as soon as you're in the dubbing booth, it's exactly the same for me. The only part where it's difficult or different, not difficult, different, is scheduling, time availability. But otherwise, I genuinely feel that as soon as you're in that booth, you're my artist. You could be anybody, but you're my artist. You will listen and we will discuss. If you don't agree, we will discuss, we will debate. And I've debated with the biggest of people and had a laugh about it. But sun lete baat. If you make sense, sun lete. But I've also had actors walk in, look at their performance, and then see their performance in English that we do. And they're like, damn, that actually looks better. Because they're like, now I can pay attention to the subtleties in my voice that I couldn't, because I was so involved with the light and catching my light and my mark and my body. that they see the value that they add when they actually change language. They're like, damn, I want to go back and now do the original dub again. Or dusri part, when we are doing it, we watch it with such a fine tooth comb. I can find so many galtis in the original. So I want to start putting markers to point out the original content ka galti. But hota nahi hai.
That's amazing.
Start choosing their work.
It's amazing to know that. It's amazing to know that आप सबको एक ही सांचे में रखते हो, and कोई भी हो,
वरना काम नहीं होता.
वरना काम नहीं होता यार.
काम नहीं होता.
At the level at which you're working, you've got to maintain, you've got to have that value system. So important. But
and I respect all my artists. I actually have immense respect for all my artists, no matter who they are. And I honestly believe this, and anyone who's done crowd or incidental characters with me will vouch for it. I love the people who do crowd and incies for me and valas for me. It's damn hard to do. It's very hard to do. Because I know very established artists who've been around for 20 years who can't stand in a room with 10 people watching you and deliver lines where you get it wrong and you have to do retakes. It's damn hard. All your inhibitions have to go. It's like a great workshop. And I feel like anyone who's trying to get into the industry should do it. It's not demeaning. It's not like, hum crowd nahi karenge. I'm like, oh my God, it's the biggest learning experience you could have, is to break those inhibitions, play 15 characters in a day, come up with lines. Your mind is like challenged. If you can do that, you can do anything.
Absolutely. सिमरन इतनी बड़ी बात बोली है. दो चीजें मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ लोगों से कि एक तो अगर आप वॉइस एक्टिंग करना चाह रहे हैं, डबिंग इज लाइक थिएटर इज टू एक्टिंग, डबिंग इज टू वॉइस एक्टिंग. पहली बात तो ये, अपनी बुनियाद जो है डबिंग के साथ मजबूत कीजिए. पहली बात तो ये. एंड आई एम वेरी फॉर्चुनेट कि मेरी भी शुरुआत वहीं पर हुई थी. और दूसरी बात, जब आप क्राउड करते हैं, अगर डबिंग कर रहे हैं, तो डबिंग स्टार्ट राइट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग, राइट फ्रॉम स्क्रैच. एंड लाइक यू राइटली सेड, अगर आप क्राउड डबिंग इज द ग्रेटेस्ट लेवलर. आपको ह्यूमिलिटी आएगी, विनम्रता आएगी आपके अंदर, योर टेनेसिटी, योर परसिवियरेंस, योर माइंड विल बिकम स्ट्रॉन्गर. एंड लाइक यू सेड, फास्ट. क्योंकि जब आप क्राउड करते हो तो यू आर सपोज टू डू मल्टीपल थिंग्स. और ऐसे so it's such a great thing. I'm so glad that you're putting this, so many things you put out today in such a short time. Simran, I'm so delighted because you're putting out all the right things. You're not putting out stuff about the glamour of voice acting. You're putting out stuff about the value system of voice acting.
Yes.
आपको voice acting करनी है, तो this is what, as a leading dubbing director, you're saying this is what you respect in artists.
Yeah.
So this is what you respect in people who are doing voice acting. Lovely. Simran, we're nearing unfortunately towards the end of our segment. But
tell me.
अभी हम बात कर रहे थे कि आप celebrities के साथ भी काम किया है आपने. Now tell me, obviously you work with rank newcomers as well.
Yeah.
So, and there are tons of people right now as we are talking. There are hundreds of people watching this live, and there'll be hundreds, if not thousands, who will watch the telecast later. So how would you rank or rate or list down, let's say, 5 qualities that you're looking for in a dubbing artist or in a voice artist who comes to you?
One of the main ones, and this happens with a lot of the men that walk in, especially first time when they're trying to meet you. They will walk in with a very artificial, low, heavy voice because they think aise hi kaam milta hai. First thing, all the time, and it's so annoying because I'm like, मुझे पता है वो आपकी असली आवाज नहीं है. So the first thing I want people to do is be yourself. There are multiple characters, and not that your leading man always has this heavy set voice. You could do a lead with a very thin. Be yourself is the first thing. Express, be open to kind of direction. Be open to direction, be open to perform. Don't be scared. Everyone understands how hard it is. It's not easy. I've been on the mic. I know how hard it is. Secondly, also, I would really, and a lot of voice actors starting out, I do tell them this: take the work that you get. Take any work that you get right now. Don't be picky. Don't be, they dismissive 10 line thi. I'm like, it's work. It's letting you hone your skills and your craft. It's important to take every job you get right now. And then eventually, get to a point where you want to pick and be that. But get there. Don't start out like that.
Yeah. Earn your bands. Earn it.
Yeah.
What about language and how important is language for you when you're directing a voice?
I am a stickler, I think, for if we're speaking English, it should be correct. If we're speaking Hindi, it should be correct. If there is English in the Hindi also, it should be correct. I don't do the desifying Hindi, but I do like dialects. I do like having characters who, even if they're speaking in English, will be a Delhi wala Hindi or in Bombay wala Hindi. Although a lot of people say, "Ye US mein kisko samajh mein aata hai," but I'm like, that's how you have layers. That's how your everyone otherwise will speak the same way, which is not how the original show is. So I like characterizations. I like people with accents. I don't mind people with English, English with a slightly desi accent. There are places we can use you. I use a lot of people in my English dubs who've never dubbed in English. They're like, "Kya baat kar rahi hai? Kaise kara rahi hai tu?" I'm like, "Aao, kara lenge. Have faith in me. We'll get it done." And they're shocked. They're like, "I've never dubbed in English." So I think language is great. I think people who are trying to train and work in other languages should do a lot of reading to get your tongue used to using certain words and grammar. I think there's a lot to just sit at home right now. If you all have time, you all are not getting out, read. Reading is very important. Loud, read out loud, not to yourself.
Yeah, finally, please, मैं बोल के थक जाता हूँ कि
And
read. वो
practice.
जॉनी लीवर का एक डायलॉग था कौन सी पिक्चर में, बाजीगर में, कि रीड मी, बहुत ही बुरा जोक था कि रीड मी, मैं हूँ तुम्हारी रीड की हड्डी. So bad. So bad. But the point is that मैं बोल के थक जाता हूँ कि यार पढ़ो, रीड, क्योंकि that is the only way. हम जब छोटे थे तो that is the way we learnt our language. हम सुन के, हमने या तो सुन के सीखिए, और अगर आपको अब सीखनी है तो सुनिए और जोर से अलाउड बोलिए. That is the only way. But again, वही है ना सिमरन की, everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So I'm glad that someone like you is putting out these things. So all you fresh, aspiring voice talents, or for that matter, the people who have been being established voices, it is so important to have an attitude of learning. कि कि हमको सीखते रहना है. हमारे यहाँ पर होता नहीं है. अगर आप देखें तो when was the last time you heard like a refresher course, or like all of us meeting and doing like a me learning from you, you learning from me? Doesn't really happen.
No, like Mona and I discuss it a lot. We talk a lot about refresher courses and how to up our skill set. Not that, oh, now मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, 20 साल से कर रहा हूँ, I कर रही हूँ, and I'm done. No, there is a lot to learn. Technology is changing, especially right now. We're at that threshold where either you're going to make the leap to the next phase of this industry, or you're going to be left behind. I had a very interesting thing with one of my artists. We were doing remote dubbing. We actually finished the show and delivered it. You can't tell that it's remote dub. And she was sitting गर्मी में रात 1 बजे रात को कंबल के नीचे, giving me this fabulous, over the top performance. And she's like, we're making history right now. Look at what we're doing. You're in your house having dinner. I'm in my house in the kambal pasine mein. Engineer is sitting there with internet problems, but we're recording. And that threshold to cross, and how we're making history right now is amazing.
Absolutely.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time.
I think the last 3 months, the industry has taken this technological leap of more than 20 years. क्योंकि जो 20 साल में नहीं हुआ, 20 साल तक हमको इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते थे कि लोग अपने घरों से डबिंग करेंगे. वो आज 3 महीने हो गया है. तो सिमरन, how are you handling this challenge? This was my next question. कि ये जो अभी, obviously studios शुरू हो रहे हैं. How are you guys holding up with that?
I think we're doing pretty well. We're actually delivering work. We're getting great performances out, because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it is about your performer. If he can perform under those circumstances, tech can be figured out. Tech is not a problem. वो कुछ ना कुछ जुगाड़ आ जाता है. I miss the interaction. I miss a face-to-face interaction with my artist, which is a huge thing to have, especially when it's someone I've not worked with before. To build that bond, to build the trust, I miss that aspect of being in the studio. But otherwise, I feel like we're getting good content out, which is important. We're not compromising on performances or quality. Mm-hmm. So in that way, I think we're doing great. What I do miss, and people only who have sat in the studio on this side will understand, I miss looking at a waveform. Like it's weird, but it's one of those things that I miss, is a waveform. So my engineers very often will put their waveform screen and share that to just make me happy. Yeah.
How sweet. But then, but then it's such a childlike thing to think about. Because this only shows how mad and how passionate you are about the craft. if the waveform can excite you, it means you're in love. You are in love.
I actually, you know, someone asked, one of the actors who was dubbing with us asked me, you know, why don't you direct? Have you ever thought of directing? I was like, I actually, honestly, love what I do. Like Shiddat say, I love it. It's not like I'm doing this because I can't. I've never wanted to direct a film or a show. I love what I do. I love working in this khacha. I love this restriction and having to work between that. It's great fun. Let someone else work on the creative content of what the original is.
It's so amazing.
I'm passionate about what I do.
I'm sure I can sense that. You know, I usually pride upon this thing. You know, when it comes to me, that I am insanely, obscenely, absolutely in love with the craft of voice acting. This is what I wake up every day excited at the prospect of getting to record or being in front of the mic. For me, it's my first love, and I'm so delighted and I'm so excited to see to see you share the same passion. And
very much so.
No wonder, Simran, you are where you are in this craft, in this industry, and there's no surprise for anyone out there that you mean business and you mean passion, and you're here not just to stay, you're here for the long run. And I think in times to come, you're only going to make this craft and India with this craft very, very proud. So it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm so proud. And as I look on the right side of my screen, the compliments that are pouring in. I've got to take a couple.
They're all planted. They're all friends of mine.
Oh, some are friends, some are your friends, some are mine. I don't know what you're paying them, but I'm paying them. I'm just
very well.
I'm just buying coffee. So let's see. Meena was there, and Surendra Bhatia ji is here.
Oh, wow.
Bhatia ji is saying, "Hi, Simran, I'm listening to you after a long time."
Yes. Bhatia ji was also in the show I did with Meena Nata 22 years ago.
भाटिया जी ने तो इस इंडस्ट्री को जन्म दिया है.
भाटिया जी
यहाँ पर तो आप तो हमारे वो हैं.
भाटिया जी के बहुत फेमस स्किल्स हैं जो लोगों को सिखाए जा सकते हैं. हाउ टू एंड अ लाइन.
I don't believe this, सिमरन. तो ये तो बड़े कमाल की बात है, क्योंकि मुझे याद है जुरासिक पार्क या कौन सी एनाकोंडा डब हो रही थी. एनाकोंडा, जिसमें भाटिया जी ने he played the villain. I forget the name of that actor. Oh my God, marvelous. The original Anaconda, which in 90s में आई थी. And वो आराधना में हो रही थी डबिंग, and I happened to be there क्योंकि मैं छोटा सा पार्ट कर रहा था, तो मेरा बाद में था नंबर. तो I was observing him, and I was observing how he ends his lines. So he is watching him perform is an absolute masterclass. I think. But
the thing with Bhatia ji is, you give him any line, he will fit it in. He will fit it in. It can fit. I'll give him 3 more words. He will still fit it in. And I'm like, how? Jadoo hota hai. Some people have the magic. Some voice artists can fit anything.
Aaj ki generation, it's so important for them to know these magicians, to know that this is the level of craft that they have achieved.
And they did it before Pro Tools. Before there was a computer that was going to shift your line, they did it in sync every time. That was hard. Mazak nahi tha.
Mazak nahi tha. Bilkul.
Mazak nahi tha.
Amazing. So moving ahead, Piali is here. She says, "Hi guys." And Piali says that I've had the best times dubbing with Sim. So many childhood dubbing memories with Rajashrie and Sean as well. And Saptrishi says, "Hi Darpan," and she says hi to you. And RJ Lalit says she's absolutely right. She always gives huge respect and care to each one of her artists. Madhuri Kale says the crowd dubbing is an excellent learning experience, like Simran said. And so Swati ji is here. She says she's saying hi to you. Says keep learning, and there's never an end to learning. Surbhi is a very Vyas. She says so true for the stuff that you spoke about. And the Piali says, Darpan and Sim, you guys are super awesome as always. Pleasure watching both of you. So I think you have absolutely.
कोई सवाल नहीं है. किसी के सवाल नहीं है. सारे जवाब दे दिए.
सारे जवाब दे दिए हमने. इसके इनको पैसे लेने चाहिए हमको इनसे.
है ना? कोई सवाल ही नहीं बचे.
घर पर डबिंग प्रैक्टिस कैसे करें अगर हमारे पास माइक और दूसरे टेक्निकल इक्विपमेंट नहीं है? भाई साहब, माइक तो लगेगा आपको.
प्रैक्टिस के लिए तो नहीं लगेगा, प्रैक्टिस के लिए नहीं लगेगा।
प्रैक्टिस का सॉरी मुझे लगा कि हाँ प्रैक्टिस के लिए माइक की जरूरत नहीं है।
प्रैक्टिस तुम बैठो अकेले रूम में, किताब लो, पढ़ो, कोई स्क्रिप्ट लो, पढ़ो, डायलॉग पढ़ो, डोंट रीड इट लाइक अ डायलॉग, हैव अ कॉन्वर्सेशन, work with your voice, work with your modulation, see how it's different when you want to talk up here or you want to talk up here, and what does it mean, how is your emotion, there's lots, बहुत प्रैक्टिस हो सकती है।
Absolutely, guys. आपको प्रैक्टिस के लिए कोई रुपए मत खर्च कीजिए। मोबाइल में वॉइस रिकॉर्डर होता है, अगर आपको शौक है उसमें आप उसको सुनिए, अलग अलग एक्सप्रेशन में, अलग अलग नोट पर, अलग अलग पेस के साथ, क्योंकि
अलग अलग पॉजेस से, what the line means when you pause differently.
Yeah, give it different meanings. Like I had a lovely session last week all about voice acting, where I spoke in general about the various facets of voice acting. मैंने कहा 4 पिलर होते हैं, प्राइमरी 4 पिलर हैं। एक हो गया आपका प्रोजेक्शन, जो बहुत क्रिटिकल है, जो आपकी कॉन्फिडेंस से आता है और आपकी ब्रीदिंग से आता है। दोनों ही चीजें लगती हैं। अगर आप कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं है तो कितनी भी अच्छी ब्रेथ हो, आप प्रोजेक्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे। एक है एक्सप्रेशन, जिसमें ये सारी बातें आ गई। एक है आपकी लैंग्वेज स्किल्स, और एक है आपकी फिजिकल वॉइस। ये चारों चीजें जो हैं, ये 4 स्तंभ हैं एक तरीके से, सबसे क्रिटिकल। इन पे काम करिए।
And something when you're talking about projection, there is about projecting to a distance, but there is something very subtle about when you're doing very intimate scenes, very emotional scenes, where it's about how subtle and how soft and how delicate you can be, which is the complete opposite of your projection. You're completely pulling it down. That subtlety to understand, because you can kill an emotional scene, or you can kill the emotion of a line by just doing it too bright or too alive, because that's what you've learned.
Absolutely.
Especially a lot of people who come from theater to dubbing have that.
क्योंकि उनको आदत है बहुत प्रोजेक्ट करने की। You want to
backseat को सुनना पड़ता है।
Backseat, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very valid point. So one of the most important key takeaways from Simran's masterclass today, if I may call it, is most important. बाकी तो चीजें ऑपरेशनल चीजें हैं, बट सबसे इन्होंने बड़ी बात कही। 2 बातें मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा टेक अवे है। एक है be yourself. Be yourself. Do not put on a fake voice.
It's a huge turn off.
And it's a huge turn off. We know it. आप जैसे कोई फोन आता है, हेलो, मत करिए। और दूसरी बात, be open for direction. क्योंकि when you say be open for direction, इसका मतलब होता है कि अपने ईगो को बाहर रख के आइए, अपने जूतों को, अपने ईगो को, अपने मूड को, अपनी पर्सनैलिटी को बाहर रख के आइए, and respect the dubbing director like you would respect the captain of the ship. Because I think, and if you have a captain as strong, as talented as SimranSingh, you are in very good hands, and you will be in a ship that will never be the Titanic, and that will never sink. So Simran, I'm so delighted, excited, so thrilled to have this conversation today, and I think everyone watching us are only praising you so much for everything that you shared. Thank you so much for finally giving a face to this and
like you say, dubbing directors don't have a face, we have our work.
हाँ, तो अब सब होगा। अब सब कहते हैं ना कि अपना टाइम आएगा,
अपना टाइम आएगा,
सबका टाइम आएगा, और वॉइस इंडस्ट्री बहुत जोर शोर से आएगा। और
आ रहा है
मिशन है, यही एक मिशन है, to ensure that the industry is viewed with the same respect that any conventional profession is viewed. And I'm sure let's not wait. मेरा क्या था सिमरन, मैंने कहा कि यार मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया का वेट नहीं करते हैं। Let's not wait for mainstream media कि वो कब हमें प्लेटफॉर्म देगा। We'll create our own bloody platform, and we have that today. So
and you're doing a great job with that, Darpan. You're doing a great job with that.
The best part is कि everyone is coming together. There is not a single person in the industry who has not backed any of our endeavors. So in a way,
because we all want an outlet.
All of us want that. So great. Thank you, Simran. Thank you once again. And I'll say goodbye to you. And
bye, guys. Thank you.
Next panelist. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
This was one amazing, mind-boggling. Kya kahe? If you guys have some more adjectives, please upload comments mein likhiye. And thank you, everyone. So Deepa Shah says, you rock, Simran. Gobind Singh says, super. Madhuri Kale says, what an energetic session. Thank you, guys. And oh my God, tons of messages. So we could not have had a more enriching, insightful, knowledge-based beginning to this wonderful session today. Let me quickly move to our next panelist, who is a very dear friend of mine, someone I love deeply and respect a lot. I have him with me in just a moment, and there you go, Sean.
Hello. Sorry?
So everyone, please put your hands together. Loud round of applause for Sean Dcosta.
I myself will do that.
ऐसा तो कोई होगा नहीं हमारी वॉइस इंडस्ट्री में, इंडिया में जो मेन स्ट्रीम वॉइस इंडस्ट्री, ऐसा कोई नहीं होगा जो ना सिर्फ शॉन को जानता है, बल्कि I can't imagine anyone who does not love Sean deeply. You know, Sean is everyone's brother. Unfortunately, bad for him because he's everyone's brother, including all the girls.
Married, ठीक है.
So for some of you, who might not be, who might not be from the mainstream industry, आपको बताएं Sean के बारे में. Sean has an experience of more than 2 decades in the dubbing industry. He's been associated with many renowned companies and catered to every channel that you can think of. If I talk about, currently he is the creative director of Prime Focus Technologies, one of India's leading post-production companies, and they have a big stake when it comes to language localization, dubbing. And one of the key projects that Sean has worked on, you would be very interested to know this if I tell you that Sean has been the dubbing director for the 1990s or late 1990s blockbuster, one of the greatest films of all time, Titanic. And Sean has directed the voices in Titanic, and obviously besides that, Men in Black, Spider-Man, Angry Birds, and recently The Irishman, Rambo: Last Blood, and the list is endless. So thak gaya main, Sean, itna lamba profile aapka.
So, thank you so much for the introduction.
So Sean, welcome to this very interesting webinar online session called The Dubbing Director's Voice, and where we are trying to get to the world of voice direction. We had SimranSingh with us earlier, and she had an absolutely blockbuster session, and now people are very eager to hear you and listen to your perspective on how the captain of the ship performs.
So I can say Simran has actually covered like almost all the aspects of dubbing direction, and what a wonderful conversation you had. And Simran was excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely. But the best part is that each one of you, whether it's Simran, whether it's you or Rajashrie Sharma, who is coming up in just a bit, all of you have very, very distinct individual journeys that you have covered. Yeah. And all of you are very inspiring. I mean, Sean, you've come into the industry as this lanky young little boy.
Same like Simran, 17 years.
Yes, you were 17 when you started. 17.
Yes.
Sean was 17 when he got into the industry. And the amazing thing is, Sean has always been a very focused dubbing director, in the sense he's always liked directing projects, whether it is directing artists or directing the entire creative aspect of a project. He's always been the captain of the ship, if I may say. So Sean, why don't you take us quickly through your journey?
So I started off being an assistant dubbing director when I was in UTV, like 22, 23 years back. And there was this, the dubbing thing was just pretty new, and it was just starting off. And there were a lot of demand for people into dubbing. So I started assisting somebody and handling some projects, and then later on got to become a full-fledged dubbing director. And then from UTV to VGP, where we met Darpan. I think UTV, we never met in UTV. We met in VGP.
We met at VGP.
Yeah. Okay. There we did a lot of work. Yeah. So it's been a long journey, 4-5 companies, managing in some places, not directing, which I missed a lot. Actually, I missed direction when I was into management and operations, and that's how now I am really back into my creatives, and Prime Focus has given me that opportunity back again to look at the creatives and guide the dubbing directors and oversee a lot of projects for every client. So yeah, it's been a long journey.
Lovely. Sean, you worked with probably 2, if not 3 generations of voice artists. So if I ask you, what is the striking difference that you see in the current 17-year-olds who come into voice acting? By that I mean the current fresh lot of voice actors compared to people who are from the earlier decade.
So yeah, things have definitely changed. Like how we used to function. When I started off, the kind of people that we used to interact with, and the kind of like a relation that we used to have with the artists, the engineers, and everything. Things have changed. Some for better, some for worse. Definitely, I wouldn't say it's a completely bad thing, but there was more a camaraderie. There used to be when we say family, when we say dubbing industry is more like a family. That used to be a lot out there in those days, and now obviously with the increase in the number of production houses, the number of artists, and a lot of work actually. That time we were a very limited audience where we used to do a limited kind of work. So that's how it's changed.
Yeah, so the sense of camaraderie, because now everyone is running. खैर अब तो कोई नहीं भाग रहा है, अब तो घर ही में भाग रहे हैं. But otherwise, 2 months back, everyone was running from one recording to the other. What you're saying in the earlier days, there was more camaraderie, more bonding. So that's one thing. So that is one thing that is very obvious that will happen. But when it comes to the craft, what is your view on artists approaching this craft? If I may ask you the question that I am going to ask all 3 of you, is that what are the key things that you are looking for in a voice actor? If a fresh voice artist wants to make a beginning, what would your advice be to someone who wants to begin in this industry?
For newcomers, basically, say they have to understand patience is the virtue. It's a slow process. It takes time. A lot of work. You keep doing a lot of work. As Simran also mentioned, that don't say no to any work. Every small, big role, anything that you didn't get, because as much work as you will do, that much experience you will gain. And this skill actually just requires a lot of experience. You keep growing, you keep polishing your skill, and as you keep doing more work, that is how it happens. So patience, and definitely you need to master one skill. Something like just don't keep on hopping from this to that and that to that, and just keep be scattered everywhere. So just stick to something and then master that one skill, and then you can say, okay, I'm good at this particular work that I do, and then you will be known for that.
That's such an important point. It's like have your blinders on. So important to not keep jumping the fence all the time. Have your blinders. I think in the earlier days, if we talk about the late 90s or early 2000s, when work was just picking up, when there were not so many avenues as we have today, most of us invested many years in doing one particular thing. So although the opportunities itni nahi thi, पर क्योंकि limited opportunities, limited avenues थे, so हम सब ने उसमें अपनी पकड़ बना के रखी या उसमें अपनी पकड़ बना ली. So it's like saying, like any other job, like any other craft, invest your time in one skill. It could be a genre, it could be a style, or if you are comfortable with character voices, then focus on that. Or if you have a good
Right.
narrative, if you have a good narrative style, because these are very, very
Yes.
different. You need different skill
True.
sets. So work on that, and most
Yes.
important, patience. So patience is today a very rare virtue, don't you think? That all of us today want instant
Yeah.
gratification.
True. Very true. That is the most important thing, and that is what we all are lacking. But that's very important to have. Like, even when you are in a recording booth, you are recording something, being impatient and not giving your best. Obviously, it will make the quality suffer, and it is not going to benefit anybody.
Yeah, so that's an important point coming out from one of our most loved dubbing directors. That if you are recording something, if you're in the voice booth, do not lose it, even if you are asked to give 10 takes, 15 takes. I often when I have these training sessions, sometimes one of the things I tell people is that your test is not whether you can give a good one take. Your test is, can you give 10 takes which have the same level of excitement, same level of energy without a hint of irritation. So I think now, Sean, that now that you are putting it out, I'm hoping that people will take this more seriously, that you cannot afford to get irked. क्योंकि अगर आप अंदर आप irritate हो गए तो पूरा माहौल बिगड़ता है. And it's a mind, who will understand this more than a dubbing director who works with minds of these artists all the time. So that's another very, very important thing to remember. So all you aspiring voices out there, develop patience and work on your craft. If I may say, work on your craft. Even if it's one segment of the craft, work on it. Invest your time in it. Do not look. It's like you don't invest in the stock market to speculate. Invest for long-term returns. उसी तरह invest your years in voice acting, and the returns will come. Have faith in that. That's amazing, Sean. That's a sage advice, or words of wisdom from Sean, who is anyway looking like a sage these days. So I can't, associate you rather with this. You've always been the baby-faced Sean, yeah.
The quarantine has made me like that. What to do?
I know quarantine के बाद ही चले जाएगा look.
Definitely.
Surendra Bhatia ji, one of our industry legends, he's saying he's a cute guy. He's very sweet. God bless him. See, I told you, everyone thinks you're cute and you're like a brother to everyone.
Sab, yehi artist, you, everybody, all the senior people with whom I've started my career, my life I owe to them, and my career I owe to them. I have learned a lot from all Surendra Bhatia ji, many more. Like, many people, they come up to us and they tell us, you have taught us so much, but it's like just what we have received, we are giving it back to you guys. We are not teaching you anything new.
That's so Sean, humble and modest as ever. Sean, would you like to take us? You've been behind a very, very important project, which is the original Titanic.
Yes.
We're not talking about the multiple versions that have been made later. We're talking about the original theatrical release of the movie Titanic. Where you had some of the industry's top artists lend their voice for the characters. So, Sean, why don't you give us some inside scoops about that dubbing project?
Oh, there are many. There's one session. I think we'll just have to make one session only on the dubbing of Titanic, the behind the scenes, and then you'll have to bring in. Then you'll have to bring in Ankur Zaveri, Namrata, and everybody.
I'll tell you what, Sean. We'll do that. We'll do that for sure. We'll get Namrata, Ankur, you, and all the other key artists. And
the recording engineer, he was the recording engineer at that time. Now he's like a big established voice himself, Shivraj Suratkal. Yeah.
We'll get him. We'll get everyone. But Abhi, why don't you share with us a couple of incidents?
Yeah, इतने सारे किस्से अभी one I can just remember. Namrata had to perform her Namrata Sahani. She had
one of our greatest voice talents,
yes,
and
yes,
she performed.
yes.
She up for Kate Winslet,
Kate
Rose.
Winslet, yes, Rose. So she had to perform the last scene where Jack Dawson drowns, and it was freezing. Her voice is shivering, and she's completely and she obviously method acting, as we call it. So to bring it very naturally, we shut off the lights. She asked us to shut off the lights completely, and the AC temperature was decreased like to the minimum, and the room was frozen completely. We went out, we had khana pina, everything, and then till that time the room was completely frozen. And then we came in, and then she performed that scene, and you have to watch it to believe it. Wow, what a performance! You
Wow.
know.
What an amazing,
Yeah.
what an amazing insight. So we've heard of method acting. So this is method voice
Yes,
acting.
method acting, method voice acting. Yes, yes.
So,
Ankur
amazing.
Zaveri, Ankur Zaveri, overnight dubbing, overnight, because we had a very limited, we had a deadline to meet, and it was a very long movie. We had to complete it. So, since morning he's dubbing, whole day he's dubbing, and then whole night he's dubbing. Just imagine the kind of energy, and the result is out there to see.
Ankur obviously is one of our greats. In fact, he's
Yeah,
got more than 35, 38 years of experience now. He's been a part of the industry since he was a child, and he's obviously one of the most amazing performers. And oh my God, amazing! We should really. You gave me an amazing idea. We should have a
yeah,
series where we have each session about one landmark milestone project, and we get the entire team.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And really relive those moments. So that's
Excellent.
but I'm so happy that you shared these incidents, because there are so many people out there who are in love with the movie, who probably have seen the Hindi version, but who have no idea the kind of madness, the kind of passion that went into recording.
Creating that.
Amazing, amazing. So, Sean, coming to the next thing about technology. Now, we are living in very interesting and challenging times where, we're using technology because people are holed up at home, and not everyone is moving out to studios. Gradually, people will get back,
Right.
but I'm sure
Right.
recording from home will become a new normal for a good time to come. So, how are you guys? How is your team handling it? What kind of challenges are you facing when it comes to dubbing, especially video lip sync dubbing?
Yes, lip sync dubbing. That's the most challenging thing right now, to get it done from home recording. Obviously, because that that intimacy between a dubbing director, sound engineer, and a artist is missing. Obviously, so that cannot be fulfilled in a remote recording for sure.
So,
But yeah, the challenges that we are facing in terms of home recording that is happening right now is obviously the engineers have to really work hard in these times, more than anybody else. It is the sound engineers who are at it. लो डायलॉग आया है, उसको हाई करना है, लाउड है उसको लो करना है, डब मैच करते बैठे हैं, सिंक डबिंग, सिंक में ऑब्वियसली 100% सिंक मिलता नहीं है. सो खुद से अगर करके बेचते हैं तो टोन डिफरेंस होते हैं, माइक प्लेसमेंट इश्यूज होते हैं, एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. सो yeah, definitely a lot of challenges with home recording. But yeah, we are slowly, steadily we are opening up, and we have started coming back to studios. Many of the artists have started coming back to the studios. So that is where we want to get back to. But I know it is not going to it is not going to be completely possible for some time now. So we have to live with it. We have to manage it. We have to do some home recordings. We have to do some studio recordings, and mismanage somehow. Yeah.
right. So you represent a very big production company, post production company, Prime Focus, and obviously you guys work with the best talents. In fact, you work with the entire gamut of talent, right, from freshers to established artists. So and in your career, more than 20 years, you've worked with probably everyone in the industry. Which is that one segment of dubbing that is very close to your heart, or that is something that you really enjoy directing the most?
See, most of my like when I started off my career, I have done a lot of these discovery and NGC kind of stuff, and they were quite interesting. We did a lot of work
Oh, please
about
don't take me
discovery.
don't take me to those lanes because I get so nostalgic. And those
uh,
I used to
yeah,
be
yeah,
so
yeah.
proud of those documentary narrations, and I
Yes.
एक टाइम पे रिकॉर्ड हुआ करता था for the fastest बहुत
Yeah,
फटाफट
yeah.
डब करता था.
डेडलाइन डिस्कवरी करते थे हम लोग 48
Oh
आवर्स में
my
चर्न आउट
God.
करते
We used to do it almost in real time.
थे.
So that,
Right, yeah.
but now
So
there is
yeah,
so much that is happening. So
right.
would that be one of your favorite ones in terms of the genre?
That has always been because that is what I've done the most actually. So yeah, nowadays
Haunting.
Netflix and
Haunt-
a lot of shows.
I can hear
Sorry,
Anita prompt haunting because we used to do
haunting.
the horror thing which I used to voice. एक
Yes,
दो बार
yes,
मुझे
yes.
याद है पूरा
Now it's
45
coming on.
मिनट 45 मिनट का
Discovery,
एपिसोड ऑलमोस्ट एक टेक में उड़ा दिया था.
correct.
I still remember those
डिस्कवरी
times.
डिस्कवरी प्लस पे आ रहा है अभी वापस.
आ
वो
रहा है
ऐड आता रहता है. हाँ हाँ. डिस्कवरी प्लस पे ऐड
आ रहा
आता
है
रहता है. वही
पूरा
हमने
मैं
देखा.
नहीं it won't be the same.
The show is there. Yeah, बाकी सब चीजें चेंज हो गई है.
Oh, lovely, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely, nice. Amazing. So, Sean, your entire, when you look back, do you think that, again, a very similar question, do you think that dubbing directors are getting their due? Or what is it that the industry can do? What is it that we as an industry can do to make you feel prouder of what you're doing? I think that's the right question.
See, the recognition within the industry, definitely the dubbing directors get their dues. So everybody knows them, everybody knows their craft. So within the industry, yes, definitely. Outside the industry, like for a general audience, nowadays we can see the voice artists, like socializing a lot on social medias and everything. They but even there are a lot of fan following for all many voice artists and everything, so they are coming in the limelight for sure, and that's a very good thing, that's a positive thing. For dubbing directors, I don't know, like they cannot come to a social media platform and say, hey, we are doing these kind of stuff, and
You are not just on a social media platform today. The entire world is watching you,
this
and
is this is the first time. Yeah.
you deserve much more than this. I think each one of you, whether it is
Yeah.
a director, whether it is the language writer, the
Right.
translator, the sound engineer, the producer, the voice artist,
Right.
someone who does crowd dubbing. And in fact, I'm very keen on having a session where we have a bunch of artists who dub for crowd scenes, and it would be amazing to meet them and to learn from them and to learn from them about their experiences. So I
Right.
think that's the whole idea, that right now, till some time back, only voice artists were the face of the voice industry, and I think gradually we need to make it more inclusive, have everyone being showcased. So I'm glad that we've got this opportunity to have you
Yes.
on screen, to listen to your experiences. And like we spoke, that aage jaake we will definitely have those sessions
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
where we
Sure.
have behind the scenes.
Right.
Why should only film walas have all the fun? We'll have the fun.
Definitely.
Lovely, Sean.
Yeah.
So, Sean, is there any, before we leave or before we part, any parting shot? Is there something you want to say to everyone out there about the industry, about how do you see things shaping up in the future?
See, the near future definitely is tough, and these are challenging times, of course. So the productivity, definitely, it has been very low, and let's see, we are trying to scale it up in the coming few months, from probably the next quarter now, which begins from next month onwards. So yeah, that everybody needs to be a part of this difficult situation and give that extra something that is required, right from the artists to the directors to the engineers to everybody, production houses, everybody. They need to do that extra bit now, which is very much required. Okay, challenges are there, technical challenges are there, like many of our senior artists, they are not being able to record from home, set it up. So guys should come out, and I keep telling my people every time, okay, whoever is having any difficulty, please make it a point that we speak to them, we guide them, we make them understand what is going wrong where, and help them. This is the time that we all need to help each other and come together. And obviously, what is happening is even all are hit, basically, equally. It's not that, it's the channels also, it's the production companies also, it's the artists also, directors also. Companies are cutting down salaries, and all these things are happening. So all the more important that to understand that where that person, if an employee is working in a company, so he may be having his pay cuts, and he may be having his personal life, and he's managing work, he or she is managing the work from within the home, managing personal life and professional life together. So understand their situation also, and plus support. Even for the artists, it is something new, obviously, working from home. So set a routine, set a schedule, which okay, but just don't let it be haywire, because we are facing a lot of challenges getting, the artists recordings on time. So what is happening is, we are not getting the recordings on time, we are not being able to send it across to our client on time, and that's how things are getting delayed. So everybody needs to support each other.
Basically, everyone needs to step up. Everyone needs to become more responsible than earlier, and
Yes.
everyone needs to, have each other's back. I guess
Yes.
that's so. I'm not surprised that you're putting out such wisdom-filled, advice, because that's how you are, Sean. We have lots of lovely comments, Sean, which are there, and Mona says hello. Mona Shetty says hello. I'm not sure if she's still around, but I think sometime back she wrote.
Okay.
Syed says Sean sir is a wonderful human being, and Surbi says that we all started. And Meena Nata says, so 17 seems to be the right age to turn into a dubbing
Yes.
director. Harshad
Sweet
Rane,
16 को sweet 17 कर दो.
Harshad Rane seems to be a friend, seems to be your buddy. He says, Shanti Bhai.
Oh, yes.
Ankur Dubey says, right, stick to something, one thing, good one. Swati ji applauds, claps for you. And
Thank you.
Vineet Mahajan says, hi, Sean. And Deepa Shah says, great thoughts shared by Sean. Cheers. Look
Thank you
forward
so
to
much.
Titans of Titanic. That's a nice name. We could look at that name. We could look at that name for our session. Way to go.
Yes.
Mona says, catch them young and watch them grow.
And grow. Yes.
Everyone coming in when they're 17.
That is what they've done with us.
And Survi says that Sean miss our UTV days.
Oh, yes, very much. Very much.
Mrunal says he's a wonderful human being and would like to work with him. And
Look forward.
Jia Bhatia says, wonderful session, Sean. And Zubin Zalak says, gem of a person. So, Sean, you can see how much everyone loves you. And you are indeed, like I've been saying from the beginning of this session, you're indeed the captain of the ship. And, well, you also dubbed Titanic, but you're the captain of the ship which was made after Titanic. That never sank. Sean, thank you. It was, Sean,
thank you so much.
You're like a brother to me, and you know how much I love you and how much I respect you. And thank you so much for being always there for me, for us. And it was absolutely marvelous to have you with us today. So I'll see you on the Friday. And bye-bye.
Bye.
So it keeps getting better. We started off with Simran. We had a fabulous session, and just give me one moment. Okay. So we started off with Simran. We had a fabulous session, and then we moved on to Seaon Dcosta. And Sean was we had a fantastic interaction. He took us back memory lane and spoke to us about that very important project, dubbing Titanic in Hindi. And I'm hoping that sometime soon we do come to you with a behind-the-scenes session of one of these or some of these iconic movies or shows that were dubbed into Indian languages. For now, let's move into the last segment. Probably I've saved the best for the last. And we have with us a very dear friend, someone who is again deeply loved by all in the industry. And I'm going to bring her in front of you in just a moment. Okay, there you go. I have with me Rajashrie Sharma. Hi, Rajashrie. How are you doing? Can you hear me, Rajashrie? Can you hear me?
Hi.
Okay, there seems
And
to
be
be
a
a
part of
lag.
this.
You're there. Hi.
Finally, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Are you there? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, everyone, put your hands together. I won't say clap loudly. I would say laugh loudly because we have Rajashrie Sharma with us. the girl with the most infectious laughter, as they say.
Oh my God.
So
Thank you.
when we
Lovely
did
to be here, Darpan. Lovely to be here.
when we did the dry run, we were discussing that हम बातें कम करेंगे, हंसेंगे ज़्यादा.
I know, yes.
So lovely, Rajshri. Thank you for waiting. And like I said, everyone has been patiently, with us for each one of our panelists. Each one of you is a winner and is a rock star in your own right. And before we move ahead, a quick, brief introduction of Rajashrie Sharma. She is the dubbing director of AudioMagick and also a veteran voice artist. When people ask her when did she begin her career, she says when Binaka became Sibaka is when she started working. So she was all of 5 when she stepped into the industry, and it's been an amazing journey of 15 years, right? 15 years, na? 5 और 15 ज़्यादा हो गए. मैं ये नहीं बताऊंगा कितने साल हुए, but it's been an amazing.
I'm not. मैं आगे नहीं बोलूंगी. मेरी उम्र का पता चल जाएगा.
So, Rajashrie has been an integral part of the voice industry, loved by all. She's worked with probably everyone who matters in the industry. She's worked with prominent names like Prakash Shah, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, A.R. Rahman, Vanraj Bhatia, Shankar Ehsaan Loy, Leela Ji, Leela Ghosh, Eliza Lewis, and she's also obviously worked with Sean and Simran, who are our other panelists. She runs AudioMagick along with her sound designer and mix engineer husband Tarun, who is also dear friend. And Tarun and me go back a very long way, by the way, Rajashrie.
Yes.
And Rajashrie has, directed numerous animation and live action shows, infotainment, docudramas, movies in Hindi, Star Wars, Ford versus Ferrari, Lion Guard, Powerpuff Girls, Vikings, Ancient Aliens, Barbie, and the list is endless. She is dubbed for movies like Jurassic Park as a child, Inception, Terminator, Genesis, Queen. She still continues to be Buttercup in Powerpuff Girls and Hannah Montana and Dora. And she has directed every conceivable voice artist in the industry. Rajashrie, with such a profile, how do you move with your head on your shoulders with such an illustrious profile, with such a repertoire of work? I mean, it's insane.
I didn't realize it's been an amazing journey. When you asked me to participate in this particular session, I suddenly started penning down a few things, and I realized, oh, कितने साल हो गए, क्या क्या कर लिया. It's amazing. So I think now थोड़ा सा मुझे attitude रख लेना चाहिए अब.
बनता है तो इस सेशन के बाद रखना है प्लीज.
Absolutely.
What is so amazing Rajashrie, about these sessions, these webinars, or these little initiatives that we embark upon is that iske chalte, iske chalte, I get to spend time sometimes with colleagues or friends whom I have not interacted with for years. पर यहाँ पर आके वो कैद हो जाते हैं स्क्रीन में और फिर उनको बात करनी पड़ती है और इसी बात में दोनों फायदे होते हैं जो लोग हैं बाहर the hundreds and thousands of people who watch these sessions, they get to know about the people who matter and the talents of the industry. और मेरे बड़े मजे ये होते हैं that I get to chat with friends. So
yes, it's mutual. Great.
जो इनके superstars हैं मेरे दोस्त हैं. So I think that's such a sweet thing. So Rajashrie, you've been you started off as a voice artist. So this transition to dubbing, direction. Tell us about that and how did you handle that? Because for someone who's so used to being always in front of the microphone, अब जब आप किसी को direct करते हो, तो आपके मन में भी वो कुलबुलाहट होती होगी कि यार ये तो मैं इससे बेहतर कर सकती हूँ. How do you handle that?
See, actually, the transition wasn't very easy. जैसा मैंने सोचा था, I thought it'd be like a cakewalk कि मैं किसी को बोल दूंगी कि ऐसा बोल दो and वो बोल देंगे. But वैसा हुआ नहीं. And then actually I realized the value of a dubbing director. All those years sitting behind the microphone, I didn't really think it was a very serious job. And later on, when I was sitting on the other side, I said, oh my God, ये तो performance निकलवाना किसी से and काम करवाना is a big thing. I mean, kudos to everyone जो dubbing directors हैं and जो अब तक रहे हैं और काम करवा रहे हैं, सक्सेसफुली अच्छा काम करवा पा रहे हैं, delivering good products. I knew कि हाँ मुझे क्या करना है, किस तरह से dialogues बोलने हैं. But then suddenly there was someone else and उससे मुझे ये करवाना है. So it was completely different. तो initially I started behaving talk back mic जो होता है dubbing directors के सामने, उसमें मैं वो dialogue पढ़ के बोलती थी कि इस तरह से बोलिए, क्या मैं ये कर सकती हूँ, इस तरह से बोलिए. And then suddenly I realized कि वैसा हो नहीं रहा, वहाँ से वो output आ नहीं रहा. And then I said, ये नहीं चलेगा, हर चीज बोल के नहीं बताई जाती. So then I started briefing people. कि generally when we dub something, we have a character description, which is बहुत ही डिटेल में लिखा होता है कि इंग्लिश में वो बंदा क्या है, कैसे हैं, what are the nuances that need to be followed, what is the tone, etc. So generally we give the artist कि आप ये पढ़ लीजिए, and then we give them a small insight into what they are getting into, the story. मतलब ये story line क्या है, picture क्या है, आप क्यों ये character dub कर रहे हैं, and आप क्यों ये dialogue बोल रहे हैं. Then it becomes easy for the artist to understand. हाँ, अच्छा, इसीलिए मुझे ये बोलना है, इसीलिए मुझे ऐसे बोलना है. Otherwise, suddenly shooting in the blind, क्योंकि we watched the movie, so I know कि क्या चाहिए, क्या नहीं चाहिए, but उस बंदे ने तो नहीं देखा है. So how will he or she know what exactly is required of the script, and why are we changing a few sentences here and there? So this is what I started, and I'm sure everyone follows that pattern. कि आप पढ़िए, then we give them a little brief, and then they're into the movie. Oh, अच्छा, तो मैं ये बंदा play कर रहा हूँ. Oh, okay. तो इसीलिए मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. So that's how. So this is one thing that I followed, and it's been successful. कभी-कभी कहीं हाँ किसी को कुछ कहना पड़ता है, बोलना पड़ता है, but otherwise then it was simple. Then it was really nice, especially when the artists then they came back and they said, it's been wonderful working with you. That was a compliment. I was like, wow, ये अच्छी बात.
Rajashrie, so kahin na kahin as a dubbing director, do you sometimes feel that you've set very high standards for other voices, because you are already a voice, and what would according to you would be the key skills to be a good dubbing director?
To be a good dubbing director, you need patience. Everything won't come out of a single take. You need to make people understand, so you need to be a good teacher. You need to be a good listener yourself. You will need to understand what the movie or the show demands, and then explain it to the person. Sometimes they understand very easily and calm ho jate hain, sometimes they don't. So then you need patience. And I think that is one of the very key skills. And then language. You need command over your language, over English and Hindi. The source language that we call the movie, jo originally jisme hai. एंड जिसमें हम डब करने वाले हैं उस लैंग्वेज में भी आपका कमांड होना चाहिए. ओनली देन पीपल विल रिस्पेक्ट यू बिकॉज दे नो कि वी आर लिसनिंग टू द राइट पर्सन. ऐसे ही कुछ भी देन इट डजंट मेक सेंस.
या दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, क्योंकि रिस्पेक्ट को जो है अर्न किया जाता है. आप रिस्पेक्ट डिमांड नहीं कर सकते हो, रिस्पेक्ट कमांड किया जाता है. And so what you're saying is it's so important to be patient, and it's also important to be very fluent with the language that you're working in, both the languages if you're working, so you should always, I mean, you will always need to prove that you are indeed the captain of the ship, so if I may say.
Yes.
So
Yes,
Rajashrie, can you take us through through any one of your most memorable experiences as a dubbing director? Some project which challenged you the most?
So, well, we did a movie called Solo, which was a part of the Star Wars franchise. And generally, Star Wars is full of action and drama and adventure, but this was totally different. It was kind of a love story and the journey of this Han Solo. And Sanket was doing the lead. And I love him as an artist, and he's wonderful. And it was such a breeze, but we had fun doing it throughout, enacting those little nuances, the romantic part, the action, the drama. And it had varied artists. I mean, a lot of people I got to work with. There was Chaitanya and a lot of different people and stalwarts. And it was a learning experience for me as well. The way they deliver the scene, the way they watch it. So I think that is, yes, one memorable thing that.
So you think that while working with these guys, with such talented people, it rubs off on you as well, and it becomes more of an interactive, more of a more of a process where even you end up learning some stuff from them.
Absolutely, because sometimes I say this is fine, we'll keep this is okay, and then suddenly the guy there says no, I really don't think, I want to do one more. And then that one more is so different, and then suddenly you're like, oh wow, yes, ye bhi to ho sakta tha. So it is a process whereby you learn something from them, and it's amazing. I mean, every day is a new learning experience. Every day you step into the studio, you have a new writer writing a script for you, and suddenly it's their perspective. Why has he written this line in a particular way? And then you start thinking, and you're like, acha, yahan pe Urdu use kiya hua hai. Oh, nice, really nice. And some artists, they given like really good input. They say, nahi, ye word hata dete hain, hum ye kar dete hain. So it's not like just they listening to me. I also take inputs from them, and I say, okay, fine, what you're saying is good, let's do this. And then it works out mutually. So
basically it's important to have humility as well, and not to impose your views, and it becomes like a give and take process.
Absolutely, because if you're working with some of the really experienced voice actors, they have a lot to offer, and they have a lot to suggest also, and they're serious suggestions. Some of the people, they come prepared with their homework. They watch the movie and they know their character, and they know कि इस scene में ये बात क्यों हो रही है, because scene number 7 में इसकी importance का पता चलेगा, but ये dialogue अभी यहाँ लेना है, क्यों लेना है. So then your life becomes easy, your job becomes easy. And if they have something to offer, of course I listen to it, and then we do it together. We go their way if we have to. So it's really nice. I enjoy the process. It's amazing.
So I can see that that you really enjoy doing what you do, which is amazing.
Yes.
I'm so honored and so fortunate that all three people, professional stars that we have today with us are people who are where they are because they absolutely love what they do, and that is such an important message to go out. Because kahin na kahin through these online webinars or through these industry sessions, like I like to call them, we are sending out a message to the entire world out there how fascinating, how challenging, how complex an industry, an art form, voice acting is. And through all these through these interactions with people who have really made it big in the industry, there are thousands out there who will get a correct understanding of the craft and of the various facets of the craft. ना कि ये सोचे कि बस ये इस काम में तो खाली वॉइस ओवर करना होता है, बहुत आसान. तो धीरे धीरे through these initiatives कहीं ना कहीं हजारों लोगों तक ये बात पहुंचेगी कि किसी भी और काम की तरह इस काम के लिए कितने पहलू हैं और कितना संघर्ष है, और लोगों ने अपनी जिंदगी इसके लिए दी है. और आज भी आप जैसे लोग जो दिन रात आज भी लगे हुए हैं और काम कर रहे हैं और अपने अपने हुनर पर भी काम कर रहे हैं. So and you are so happy to be doing what you're doing.
Yes, it's a very it's a specific skill because headphone में कोई और language आ रही है आपको, you're listening to some other language, script आपके सामने किसी और language में है, and then you're going to speak those lines in sync with the artist who is on screen, देखते हुए. देखना भी है, पढ़ना भी है, सुनना भी है और सारी चीजें करनी है, and उस time frame में करना है, जितनी देर में वो कह रहा है उतनी देर में आपको बोलना है. So it's a specific set of skills, and if you're good at reading, good at remembering a few things कि हाँ इस ये यूं आंख इस तरफ करेगा तब ये बोलेगा, that's how you can get your sync right. When you watch it first, you're like, oh, okay, अब मैं बोलूंगा तो ये exactly sync में बैठ जाएगा. Initially when we started, we used to work on, I worked on a system called rock and roll, जहाँ पर एक गलती यानी आपको पूरी रील दोबारा बोलनी है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
So I think yes. So I think इसीलिए that made us really जो very sharp कि हाँ कोई गलती नहीं करनी है, कोई गलती नहीं करनी है. And now we have these software systems, तो अब काफी easy है, हम आधी लाइन भी लेते हैं, उसके भी फायदे हैं. You get more out of the artist sometimes कि एक expression अच्छा आ नहीं रहा, चलो आधा करके लेते हैं. It's not like हम लाइन तोड़ रहे हैं or something, but आधा करके लेने में ये फायदे हैं. नुकसान भी अलग है. Some people expect कि भाई या इससे आगे ले लो, अरे नहीं मूड नहीं बन रहा, हम पूरा लेंगे. So फायदे भी हैं, नुकसान भी हैं, but I've always learned to see the positive aspect. काम जल्दी हो रहा है, and a lot of people are trying to join the industry, which is good because there's always place for a new one. There's always place for a new artist. आज OTT platforms इतने हैं, they need new people coming in, they need new voices. They're like नहीं हमें repetitive voices नहीं चाहिए. Though we like to honestly work with a set of people, but this has changed everything. Clients demanding कि और नए voices चाहिए, और नई voices लेकर आओ. So yes, there's always place for a new one, and अगर mic पे आप बोल पाए, then that's it. You're in. You are a voice actor.
What you're saying is there is always place for new talent as long as you have talent. That's the point.
Yes, absolutely. And
so
that is something.
Yeah, absolutely. That is non-negotiable, right?
Yes. You need to have that talent, and I really admire people जो introspect कर लेते हैं कि whether I can do this or I can't do it, and they're like, oh ठीक है ये मेरे लिए बना है. Some people will come and say कि हम animation नहीं करेंगे, हम live action करेंगे. हम like क्यों नहीं करोगे animation? क्या है उसमें? They're like नहीं वो आवाजें बना के बोलना ना वो हम नहीं कर सकते. I'm like never say that as a voice actor. आपको सारे काम करने हैं. You're playing कि ऐसी voice बना के हम नहीं बोलेंगे. हम like क्यों नहीं बोलोगे? बोलो ना. You sharpen your skills. Animation भी करना है, आपको live action भी करना है, आपको सारी चीजें करनी है. तभी आप एक complete voice actor बनेंगे, and you'll be working throughout. आपको हर जगह से काम मिलेगा, which is important.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, Rajashrie, क्योंकि obviously versatility जो है बहुत मुश्किल चीज है. ये भी possible नहीं कि हर कोई हर कुछ कर सके, मगर आपका attitude ये होना चाहिए कि as an artist जब आप सीख रहे हो काम को, as a fresher, when you're learning the craft, you have to learn the craft in its entirety. आपको हर segment जो है या हर genre जो है उसको सीखना पड़ेगा, और उसके बाद में आगे जाकर obviously अगर आपकी अपनी limitations हैं तो फिर आपकी opportunities भी limited हो जाएंगी. क्योंकि अगर आप कहेंगे कि मैं तो सिर्फ इंग्लिश में कॉर्पोरेट ऑडियो विजुअल ही नरेट कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ, तो फिर आपके एवेन्यूज उतने कम हो जाएंगे. सो व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज सो राइट कि इफ यू आर लुकिंग एट बीइंग relevant and valuable to the craft forever, then work on every aspect of the craft.
Until at least you reach a point where you can choose. तब तक तो आपको करना है. And then you can choose कि भाई हाँ, I enjoy doing live action, तो मुझे आप animation मत दीजिए. But have you reached that point कि आप ये कह सकते हैं? That is important. And I know a lot of people who do everything and they're very happy.
Of course, there are so many who are so versatile that they can pull off everything, and that's such an important insight from one of the most loved, most popular, most experienced dubbing director come voice artist of our industry. So this is a great advice to all those thousands of people out there who have stars in their eyes about the craft but have no idea about what it entails. So ये बहुत अपने अच्छी बात बताई कि अगर काम सीखना है तो उसको एक पूरी तरह से सीखिए. So at least till a stage when you know everything, फिर आप choose करिए जो करना है आपको, which is amazing. Absolutely. Rajashrie, you spoke about technology, you know, कहीं ना कहीं I understand कि technology से help हो रहा है. हमारे वक्त हमने जब शुरुआत की थी तब एक इतनी अच्छी grounding हो गई थी कि वो sync बैठ ही जाता था अपने आप, क्योंकि you were trained that way. पर आज with technology it is easy to, you know, move around your dialogue to fit it in. But kahin na kahin, do you think that it is also becoming, can technology ever replace the importance of that talent? Because lips match karna ya sync karna is a matter of sharp reflexes. Kahin na kahin, would that not suffer?
See, I really don't think it's replaceable, but I'll tell you one thing. People who can sync and can deliver dialogues in sync earn and command a lot of respect again in the artist circles, because then you suddenly start loving them. You're like, oh wow, they've taken their job seriously. They want to do it. ये नहीं कि एक dialogue बोल दिया और recorder sync कर रहा है, हम expression देख रहे हैं. Of course, why I'm saying this is beneficial is sometimes you have an excellent take, and then suddenly it's just a little out of sync. तो वो adjust करने से you don't lose that expression.
Correct.
So that's where this works. Yes, that's where this works. This really works.
Technology should enhance your performance, not make you handicap in terms of not make you too dependent on technology.
Not make you its slave. Suddenly you're slave to some software that is going to sync your dialogue, which is really not needed. When you are an artist, you are from the creative field, you need to do these things. And this is technical, of course, sync, but it has to be incorporated as a part of your job. You need to learn this craft too.
Absolutely.
And then deliver with expression in sync with the correct attitude and language. And then yes, of course, you will be, आपको काम की कभी कमी नहीं होगी, and people will always wait for you कि नहीं हम उसी से करवाएंगे. अरे उसके पास टाइम नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं, we'll wait for 2 weeks, but हम उसी से करवाएंगे.
That's so encouraging. It's a very, what you're giving out very positive vibes. You're telling everyone that the industry is waiting for you with open arms, provided you know the job. So do not ask whether there is a job, ask whether you know the job. I think that's the important question, and that is so important. So, if I ask you to give me 5 points or 5 important qualities, 5, 4, 3, doesn't matter, that you look for in a good voice artist or a good dubbing artist when you're directing them, what would they be?
One is your reading skill, very important. Your reading pace, the pace of reading dialogues. Sometimes people struggle with dialogues. They can't read properly. Then you can never be a good dubbing artist. You can never be a good voice actor because you can't read your script properly. Second thing is, try and understand both the languages you're working in. Something that is coming to you through the headphone and something that you're talking. दोनों में आपकी महारत होनी चाहिए, पढ़ने में भी, लिखने में भी. Again, there are a lot of people who say we can't read Hindi. So, you can't read Hindi, आप बोल सकते हैं, but आप पढ़ नहीं सकते. That's very funny. तो वो मत कीजिए. Try and read. So, it puts someone off completely because script Hindi में है, आप हिंदी बोल सकते हैं, but आप पढ़ नहीं सकते, which is a complete. I'm like, ये क्यों? So, उसमें भी आप fluent हो जाइए, बोलने में, पढ़ने में. These are 2 things. And then the third thing is confidence. Don't lose confidence. And patience, of course, कि हाँ पहली बार में नहीं हुआ तो क्या हुआ, बहुत 100 बार और आप कर सकते हैं. Definitely you will shine somewhere. And whenever you walk into a studio, be confident. You know your job. आपको पता है कि क्या करना है. आप माइक पे गए. इस तरह अगर आपने प्रैक्टिस की है, आप घर पे भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. कोई पिक्चर चल रही है, उसके डायलॉग्स हिंदी में आप बोल सकते हैं. And so this is something very important. So I see confidence, I see reading skills, I see language, patience, and of course the ability to listen and understand कि सामने वाला आपको क्या बोल रहा है, what your director is trying to tell you.
I think that's a very important point. कि dubbing director आधा काम तो उनका है, आधा काम आपका है कि वो आपको जो direction दे रहे हैं, for you to receive it and absorb it. That's also very important.
Yes. So I see these as very key factors into when someone walks into the voicing industry.
Lovely.
And I tell people who audition. Yeah.
So a lot of people come in who come in to audition. and as a dubbing director, when you listen to them, when you watch them perform, and you realize that maybe they're not ready. SMA, how do you guide them? Do you tell them that they need to train? Because that's a very important element. How important is it for them to spend time in training themselves?
So generally, people who come with a training background, who've already trained with someone, obviously they perform much better as compared to complete freshers. If you've joined a particular institute, if you've joined a particular class, a session, a workshop, wherein you're told what to do, you're prepared for the job. Half the job is done because you know 50% ki kya karna hai. And 50% wahan hoga when you're right behind the mic. So a lot of people call, they say we want to audition. So I always tell them we don't audition offhand. Whenever we're conducting auditions, we make it a point to call these people and give them this part कि आपको ये part play करना है. And that is when the real thing is actually understood. ये script है, ये character है, and आपको ये performance देनी है. So people who come with a background, who have trained, who have understood कि क्या करना है, they obviously perform better because they have that practice of reading, of trying to understand what's going on, and it's easy to train them.
Yes.
And people who are complete freshers, I generally tell them, आप कहीं join करके आएंगे तो it's better. It'll give you, because these days we don't have the liberty of making them sit in the studio and learn because there's a lot of privacy and security happening. So we really can't let newcomers just come and sit. Earlier in the olden days, I would see कि ये नया बंदा है, ये बैठ के सीखेगा, ये देखेगा. But these days it's not possible. वो है ही possible ही नहीं है. And it's good कि there are many institutes and many training centers जो of money, it's nothing. It's a proper way to enter into the field now, and it's amazing कि available है. So make use of the opportunity.
Yeah, like any other profession, like any other thing, like any other profession or craft, you need to learn. Nobody can afford to train you today from scratch. You've got to get your basics right.
Yes, that is
and
not possible.
have your language in place.
Absolutely.
Understand the basics, and then you will learn dhire dhire karte karte. Quite fair. Amazing, Rajashrie. So itne kam time mein you've actually given out, the beautiful thing about today's session or all of these sessions is that each panelist or each industry star, as I like to call them, brings with them their own perspective, their own wisdom, their own experience, and which is very individual, which is not, like anyone else. So what you brought in today was a lot of positivity, a lot of hope. You're telling everyone that this is a beautiful world of voice acting. You're welcome here.
Yes.
Just that,
yes.
Know your job, train yourself, and only then come in so that, and prepare yourself, become versatile, work on your language, work on your confidence, and then the world is waiting for you. Because all of us came in, there was a time when you or me, all of us had our first time, and the industry did welcome us because we probably did a good job. So that is how it is even today. Even today, the industry welcomes people who do a good job. So that's amazing. And as I can see on my right, I'm seeing so many beautiful comments of people. There are a few questions also. Deepa Shah says, amazing journey, Rajashrie. Pure bliss to meet all of you. Such great people and super times shared by everyone. Ankur is here. Ankur Zaveri is here. He's showing a thumbs up. Madhuri Kale says, talent hona chahiye. Many people think it's a very easy job. Easy money, koi bhi kar sakta hai. And, how I wish it was true. And Indu Kapoor says, thank you for making us meet the stars of this industry. See, this is what I love. For me, the endeavor is to make the world know that meet you guys, meet the real stars of the industry, and let the world.
What a wonderful job you're doing, Darpan.
I'm doing nothing actually, just that I'm just setting the ball rolling. All of you are coming together and people are loving it. So it's quite simple. Thanks to people like you who've been so gracious in agreeing to come to this platform. Someone says, how can we join as an assistant dubbing director? If you have an answer to that, Rajashrie.
Yeah, I know. I in fact, just before the session, I got a WhatsApp message saying I would like to join as an assistant dubbing director. शायद वही सज्जन है, I'm not sure.
Okay,
So again, assistant dubbing director, you'll have to just join and sit on the table and learn the craft. And unlike बैठ के सीखना, देखना, etc., वो तो नहीं, काम करवाना एक अलग चीज है. Once you join the studio, I mean, there are various production houses these days. आप कहीं भी शुरुआत कर सकते हैं and learn the craft. That's it, on the go.
On the go, absolutely. Bhatia ji is here. He says, "Hi Rajashrie, hope you remember me."
Yes.
That's Bhatia ji.
Sir, आप मजाक कर रहे हैं. नमस्ते,
I know.
नमस्ते.
Vaishakhi.
I've seen him as a child. I was a child when I first saw him. And,
but उसके साथ उल्टा हुआ है ना. He has reverse aged. वो reverse में age हो रहे हैं.
Absolutely,
Now he's become a child. वो 15-18 साल के अब वो लगते हैं. So,
and when he used to dub, he used to sound so different. So as a child, I was in awe. I used to look at him. I'm like, ये mic पे इनकी आवाज कैसी आ रही है अलग? So I've seen him do a lot of stuff. I've seen him do Jurassic Park, other movies. I've seen him do animation, and such a wonderful person. Yes.
He's an absolute sweetheart.
Yes.
Vaishakhi Dave says, such positive vibes from Rajashrie ma'am. Vineet Mahajan says, hi Rajashrie, nice to see you after so long.
Hello.
Nalini Narayan says, Rajashrie, I have been your great admirer. Jia Bhati says, Rajashrie, you are such a darling and down-to-earth person, so helpful. How sweet. Shami Datar says, great interview. Meena Nahata, Meena says, agrees.
Oh, Meena ji.
I think
love you.
And Shashwat Sagar Singh says, great session. Sudha Mahalakshmi says, wonderful listening to all of you. It's a different world out there. Indeed it is. Yeah, so many lovely. RJ Ashish says, lovely session, Rajashrie ma'am.
Thank you.
Indu Kapoor Tandon says, thanks to lockdown, we are getting to meet and learn so much. Actually. Lockdown ke time pe ye dimag mein aaya. And Latesh Pujari says, it's always fun working with Rajashrie. How sweet.
Oh, yes.
And
yes, he's
a rock star.
Absolutely.
He is asking a question. If a dubbing artist is dubbing in Hindi, then why is the script provided in Roman English?
Yeah, so generally this happens. People write in Roman English and the guidelines aren't specified. Sometimes we take it. Sometimes it's fast. Sometimes what happens is you ask a writer to deliver a movie in like 2 or 3 days. And then they say, कि नहीं हम ये हिंदी font में नहीं लिखेंगे. It comes in Roman. So we take it. We say, ठीक है, ले लेते हैं. काम करना है, आगे बढ़ना है, तो ले लेते हैं.
But ये point अच्छा है इनका, क्योंकि ये point अच्छा है कि देवनागरी में होनी चाहिए, पर आप और मैं दोनों जानते हैं बहुत लोग हैं जो देवनागरी पढ़ नहीं पाते हैं, तो वो एक इंडस्ट्री का चलन ऐसा हो गया है. तो होपफुली खुर्शीद, अगर आपने पूछा है, थैंक यू फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन. होपफुली इन टाइम्स टू कम हम शायद हमारी जो खुद की लिपि है हिंदी की, उसको ज्यादा महत्व देंगे और उस लिपि में ज्यादा काम होगा. पर आपने बड़ा अच्छा सवाल पूछा. और एक और सवाल था, can people outside Mumbai give audition for dubbing? And what is the way? Raghavendra पूछ रहे हैं ये.
So Raghavendra ji, I'd like to tell you कि audition अगर सामने हो तो it's always better. So and why do you want to do it from outside? काम तो आपको बॉम्बे में करना है. So you need to come here. And eventually you need to be a part of this industry physically. And you need to be here physically. And only then you'll be able to understand what's happening here. Unless you're already an established voice and then you've shifted place and then you'd like to continue, then it's an entirely different thing. Because then you have your system, you have your setup, and you know the job, and we just assign you work and you do it. But it's not so always. If you're a newcomer and you like to try, I think you'd physically better be here.
हाँ, तो ये है राघवेंद्र जी, आपको बम्बई आना पड़ेगा. जब तक आपका ऐसी पोजीशन नहीं हो जाती कि आप लोग जानते हैं कि आप क्या काम करते हैं, people know what to expect from you, तब जाके फिर आप रिमोट भी रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं. बट उस पोजीशन पर आने तक तो एक बार आपको आमने सामने आना पड़ेगा. Meena Nata says, love you all. And Survi says, Survi Zaveri Vyas says, today's was a wonderful session. And Can I thank you
Yes.
enough? I can't thank you enough. Rashi, it has been such
Same here.
a pleasure. You've been so delightful, and there is every reason why people love you so much, respect you so much. You have given your entire life.
Thank you.
Obviously, अभी तो आपकी 3/4 life बाकी है, but अभी तक आपने अपनी पूरी life
Yes.
craft को दी है. और may you continue to shine. May you continue to be the rock star that you are. And we are so proud of you. And thank you so much for being a part of this session. And I hope to see you sometime on the other side.
Thank you for the showcase.
The entire thing ends.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Darpan. It was wonderful
Thank
being
you.
here.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Guys, thank you everyone. It has been a marathon session, a very long and a very exhausting session. But you know what? The energy of these three people, SimranSingh, Seaon Dcosta, Rajashrie Sharma, has been so infectious that I'm not feeling one bit tired. And I'm sure, looking at the number of people who've attended this session today, the number of people who are going to see this session later, I think it's going to be more than worth it. So, well, that brings us to an end to today's session, and lots of lovely comments, full of love and appreciation. Keep that flowing. Your love, your encouragement, your appreciation is what becomes fuel for me to think of these sessions, and for my team to bring all this to you. So, from the entire team of Sugar Medias, we will continue to make a stronger platform for the Indian voice industry and showcase everything that this fascinating industry has to offer, whether it is showcasing people from the industry, whether it is discussing different elements, different issues, or different segments of the industry. Next week, next Thursday, we'll be back with another very informative, insightful, interactive, interesting, delightful session, hopefully as fantastic as we had today. So please, if you can share these videos, you can watch them on YouTube or Facebook. Share these on your timeline. Share it with your friends. You can do that through WhatsApp as well. Let it reach out to thousands and thousands of people. Only then will the voice of our voice industry reach out to the world. And together we can do that. And let's hope for more power for our voices. Thank you and have a lovely evening. And bye-bye.